Hi again, it's Aeron Mack, the backyard trainer. Welcome to Flip That Horse. As we continue, we have our Project Philly Sundance in the round pen. We've put a saddle on her. We've sat on her for the very first time. And in this episode, we take our first few steps. This is our first official ride. Stay tuned. Okay, we're just going to continue with what we were doing before, which is getting on, pat, 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 get off. So I'm going to put most of my weight on the saddle. I'm going to rub her on the other side of her body to get her used to something on both sides at the same time. Sometimes that's a little bit unnerving for horses. And continue to just pat her and kind of check in with her and make sure she's relaxed. At this point, I'm still using my riding halter and rope reins, and I just have one rein in my hand, which I'm using to grab the mane, and I'm just going to continue to get on, pat, 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 and get back off. And again, a lot of people think getting off is no big deal, but it's just as new to the horse as getting on. So getting off and getting on are equally important to practice, so that's why I do it a lot of times. There's Grace. So anyway, just getting on, getting off, patting her. She seems fairly relaxed. There she's cocking a back foot, so I take that to mean she's okay with everything I'm doing. And I'm just going to continue the way I've done, making sure she's very relaxed. And checking in with her. She seems like none of this is phasing her at this point. She's good about having her ears touched now, since I've been working on that quite a bit. Again, grabbing one rein. The reason for that is if she decides to squirt out away from me, I'll just hop back down and pull that rein, so I pull her head around towards me and her hind end away from me. That's just a safety precaution so that I don't get kicked. I'm trying to always think of the safety issues as I'm working with horses. So again, here I just have my nice loose loopy reins, and so far she's given me no indication to think that she's going to do anything squirrely. So there, instead of stepping down, I take my foot out of the stirrup and hop down, so just getting her used to that. It's a little noisier. Now I'm going to start picking up on the rein and asking her just to bend her head around towards me. You can see that it takes just a very light amount of pressure. She's already figured that out. Picking the rein up. Now she's doing it really without my even having to ask her. So I'm just going to continue to sit up there and hang out with her, and she's got a back foot cocked, so I don't think she's going anywhere. So I'm going to leave the reins loose, and she's relaxed enough to get that fly off her leg. So continuing to just hang out with her and talk to her a little bit, and monitoring her ears and just seeing how she's doing. She's breathing, and she doesn't seem at all stressed out, so I'm thinking at this point this is going to be pretty easy. But you know what they say, best laid plans. At this point I'm going to continue to just pick up on the reins and ask her to bend, and that's going to be practice for steering in the future. And she's taken a step or two. So here's the next day. And so far, she's been very good about letting me hop up. So this is the third day I've done it. She walked a few steps yesterday with me on her. This is where I cue the Jaws music. And in the interest of full disclosure, here's the next clip of me hopping on her, only this time something startles her. And here I'm making a few mistakes, which I'll tell you about. So she has a little spook and starts to hop. And there I go. So, these things happen. Not to get frustrated, I just call her back to me. You can see the saddle has slid over. So let's watch in slow motion. I'll explain what happened. First of all, I did not have adequate control of her head. Something spooks her there, I don't know what, but as soon as I hop on, she starts to hop. As I grab my rein to turn her head, at this point she's too scared to listen to my rein, and the saddle starts to slide over. So at that point I decide there's no recovery, so I just had to let myself go off. Which brings up a good point, which is up to that point she'd been responding nicely to the halter and the reins, but when we got into a pickle, she didn't. So now I'm going to plan B, introducing the bridle. That's the first time she's ever had it on, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it right on her. And she's going to chomp and lick and chew and try and spit out the bit. And clearly I'm going to need a little bit more control over her face, so if she tries to do that the next time I get up, I can pull her head around. That's going to be critical to keep her from doing the same thing again. We don't want to develop any bad habits. So I'm just going to start picking up on the reins so she can start to feel the bit pressure. I have a full cheek double link snaffle so that she can feel the pressure both in her mouth and also from the full cheek pulling her towards me. So I'm just going to pick up on the reins and let her feel that pressure and reward her by releasing when she moves her head over, following the pressure from the rein. So I'll do that with a direct rein standing on either side. Being sure that when I pull back on the rein, I release. There, I've released it, and I'm going to ask her again to bring her face over, which she does. So going forward, if I am in an emergency situation and I do pull her head around to one side to disengage her, she's going to know right away what to do. So after I do it a few times direct reining, I'm going to go ahead and start doing it by putting the rein on the opposite side and pulling. So here it's on the other side and I'm pulling with my hand just resting on top of the saddle. As soon as she starts to bend around, I let go and release the pressure. Here I'm going to pick up the pressure again, just mild pressure. I'm not pulling her head. And she's figuring it out, slowly but surely. Chomp, 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 and then second she moves her head to follow the rein pressure, I'll release. So I'll do that a couple of times also on each side, so that she learns to follow the rein pressure regardless of where I'm standing. That girl. So, first time in a bridle, it's very normal for her to be chomping and licking and chewing. That's normal, and I'm not going to worry about it. She'll stop doing that after a little while. So I'm just going to continue to ask her to respond to the rein pressure, both direct rein and indirect from the offside. Good girl. And as soon as she follows the pressure, I immediately release. So we're going to pick up where we left off tomorrow and see if we can fix this problem.